I kept picking my brain like, well, there's got to be an industry. So I thought, well, healthcare's got to be a place where this just doesn't really work. No, it does work there. I mean, healthcare, the reason being, you've got such a convoluted flow between vendor and actual end user with so many deciding parties in it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not the case. You actually can do things like subscribe to diabetes equipment.
Oh, you mean the end user?
End user, the actual person who's getting the value out of it. And so I thought, well, what about mining machinery? I did a project on mining machinery like, I don't know, what was it, 30 years ago when I was a little kid. So think about it. You go into a coal mine. What do they have in there? They have these things called longwall miners. It's basically this gargantuan truck with an arm on the front and a wheel, and it just does this and goes back and forth in the coal seam. Well, what happens to the coal seam behind it after it's done getting the coal out? It collapses. Mm-hmm. So these things get buried in a coal mine. I'm like, how do you subscribe to something that gets buried in a coal mine? You know, you can't, guess what? Well, you don't subscribe necessarily to the miner. You subscribe to the value-added services created by IoT. Coal mining is dangerous, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've got to be monitoring air levels. You've got to be monitoring the quality of the seam. You've got to be monitoring temperature. You've got to be monitoring what type of coal it is, et cetera, in order to be more efficient on the downstream end once you get it out. I mean, all these things can be measured by putting sensors on the coal mining machinery. Mm-hmm. Well, there's an old adage, don't sell the steak, sell the sizzle. Okay, so what you do is you create a package of value-added services on top of buying the actual coal mining machinery. The reality is that you may actually sell the coal mining machinery as a loss leader. Mm-hmm. In other words, you're not making a profit on the sale. You make all the money back on the subscription services, which are all these monitoring things,
the whole
plus
ecosystem.
Automation. And then you create an app platform. So then you create an ecosystem, and basically that's just selling real estate. You're selling people access to the customer base. Mm-hmm. So I looked at it and I thought, there's no way this is happening out there. Sure enough, somebody's doing this. You can subscribe to a variety of different services from the coal mining machinery manufacturer if you buy one of their miners, and it's a lot cheaper this way. Wow! And so I finally thought, you know what? There's no way you could subscribe. My girlfriend actually came up with this. She said, toilet bowl brushes. There's no way you can subscribe to a toilet bowl brush. Well, guess what, folks? On Amazon, you can subscribe to toilet bowl brushes. I'm not kidding. Subscribe and save. Mm-hmm. It's there.
Praise to Bezos. We're not worthy.
But you know what? Let's go back again and think about what the convenience is for the customer. You would think, what a ripoff, right? Somebody's going to subscribe to toilet bowl brushes? Wrong. How great is it that you don't have to think about buying your next toilet bowl brush?
Because they have like a life cycle?
It just shows up.
They have like a life cycle?
They have a life cycle. Everything has a life cycle. So think about it. Somebody has taken that worry off of my hands. That's one of the beautiful things about this model for the customer again. They don't have to think. You think about, you can subscribe to the iPhone in North America through AT&T. Yep. Mm-hmm. You can actually subscribe to the iPhone, and you don't have to wait in line. You don't have to think about, do I want to go for, are the features good enough? No, it just shows up. How easy is that? How convenient is that? Same thing with something like a Creative Cloud. Same thing like,
wow,
any hardware product you have that can carry software and services on top of it, those things show up automatically. How wonderful is that? I didn't have to think. And I'm not saying turning you into a robot or automating you. What I'm saying, as a consumer or as a business, what I'm saying is it's taking a lot of inconvenience off your hands. And by the way, there is a lot of value in that. Anytime I studied this, there is tremendous value when people say, yeah, I don't have to think about making a purchase decision.